Well, the summer movie season's over, but we can still be surprised. Diablo. You know, we Americans, we like saying things in Spanish. I don't know why. It makes us feel like cool, hip, and relevant, you know? It's kind of like having an Asian letter tattoo. Alright, so last summer in the movie theaters, we saw a trailer to the movie Devil, and when M. Night Shyamalan's name came up on the screen, everyone in the theater started booing. And let's face it, M. Night Shyamalan's kind of like the show Heroes. At first, we were all like, this is so awesome, and now we're all just like, let's just forget that ever happened. But to set the record straight, Shyamalan's the producer and he came up with the story. So ultimately he was just like, I have this idea for this movie. I think I'm gonna write this one down. And someone else was just like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'll give you that. But how about I go ahead and write this one down? And I've seen your movies for the past 6 years, so go ahead and take a nap. But Shyamalan was off crushing a franchise, so he really had nothing to do with this movie other than coming up with the idea and making sure it got made. So the movie Devil stars and revolves around 5 people stuck in an elevator together, and then attacks and death ensue, and you're stuck trying to figure out who's doing it and why. It's kind of like Clue, only it only takes place in an elevator. Now, judging by the boos in the movie theaters and my own thoughts on the subject, expectations for Devil were not very high for me, but I guess you cannot judge a movie by its producer. You know, once every few years a movie comes out, and before you see it, you're just like, I'm gonna hate this movie so much. It is going to suck so much suck. In fact, I'm gonna watch it just so I can hate it this much. Yeah, me neither. That'd be weird. And then you see it and you're like, it actually wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty good. That is pretty much exactly what this movie's like. It shouldn't be, but it is. I mean, it's interesting and it kept you guessing. You're like, I am convinced that that person is the one who's doing it right there. I mean, that's the devil or the killer or whoever's doing this and why. And then you're guessing about the characters, like who are they and why is this happening to them and does that matter? And let's face it, 5 people who don't trust each other all within like a 3x3 space. That's cool. And it did have a couple of creepy ass moments. Some were those jump scares that I usually hate, but others weren't. I mean, the movie's about 1 hour and 15 minutes long, which sounds really short when you say it like that, but I mean, it's perfect for this movie. If it were any longer, it'd be trying too hard, and if it were any shorter, it'd be a Twilight Zone episode. Not that that's a bad thing. I'd say if you like the Twilight Zone, if you like The Outer Limits, if you hate The Last Airbender and you like movies where you're trying to figure out what's going on as people are sequentially getting picked off, thus the suspects are narrowing, you'll probably like Devil. I don't know why that Last Airbender thing matters, but I think it does. So a movie called Devil is actually good, which could only mean one thing. Someone sold their soul. If it comes in first this weekend, maybe then they sold their soul. I mean, because how bad would that be if you sell your soul and come in second? I don't know, let's ask. So even though the cool thing about this movie is trying to figure out what's going on, so replay value in movies like that usually isn't too high, but in terms of judging how good the movie is, I would say I'd buy this movie, even on Blu-ray. There's no catch. I just think it's good. And if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, then click right here to see more. You won't even have to sign away your soul if you don't want to.